Relationships. This is probably the most popular topic I'm asked on. When I do my programs and people start to move through the programs and things get stimulated for them, 9 out of 10 times when they stand up and ask me questions, somewhere it has something to do with relationships. What is a spiritual relationship? Well, the truth of the matter is, it's the wrong question. What isn't a spiritual relationship? In fact, relationships that tend to harmonize together, that you recognize this connection you have with another human being, whether it's in a romantic relationship, whether it's a parent to their child, child to their parent, employer, employee, relationships all have one thing in common. We all walk around with these souls in our body. And when we have our souls connect soul to soul, the relationship seems to go easy. It seems to be organic. It seems to naturally flow. And I know all of you out there know exactly what I'm talking about. However, if you've noticed, at least one point in your life, it doesn't always feel that way. When there's conflict, when there's arguing, when there's irrational things that happen in a relationship, it could get turbulent. And that's where the emotional body kicks in. I have a whole different take on this. I myself have made tons of mistakes in relationships, and I've learned every step of the way. I know this, is that when I am upset, or when I am concerned, or when I feel contracted, the first step is to look at within, not look over there. And a lot of people go into what I call the blame mode. And the blame mode is, it looks like this: if you only, then I would. And when you start anything with that, you're destined for a very turbulent moment. We must learn that when we feel this contraction in our hearts, when things are turbulent, to go and stop. Stopping is a form of action. You might say it's not doing anything. And sometimes knowing when to stop talking, knowing when to take a breath, knowing when to go for a walk, meditate, pray, and whatever it is that you do to get that place, what I call centering, it's a healthy place to visit. And ask yourself the big question after you stop is, the next thing out of my mouth, does it come from love? Or does it come from anger? Because really at the end of the day, you've got two choices: fear, which leads to anger, or love. I choose love. I've done the other long enough to realize that that is a time bomb, that when it hits, everybody falls. I had the privilege of working with Buckminster Fuller, and I taught with Bucky, and I learned from Bucky Fuller. He was not just a genius, a philanthropist, he was also a teacher, a philosopher. He was amazing. And I was sitting with him one afternoon having lunch before he passed away. And I asked him about relationships, and he stopped, he looked at me, and he said, because Bucky saw everything through universal principles, he said to me, the universe doesn't lie. The universe is stable, it's consistent, it is comprehensive, it doesn't compete, it opens up, it's abundant. And what a relationship was, in Bucky's terms, is this: when there's planets in the atmosphere and there's planets in space, when you have two individual planets that come close, like the sun and the earth, there's an orbit that happens. And the orbit is balanced. It's perfect. It doesn't, if one little thing knocks that planet off orbit, it goes off into the cosmos. Or if it knocks it the other direction, it goes into the sun and it burns. What Bucky said, the perfect relationship, when one soul vibrates, because we're all energy, when one soul vibrates at the same frequency at the other soul, they orbit around each other. And the perfect relationship is when two independent bodies orbit and make this dance, and it goes on forever. And it's balanced, it's easy. There's no pull, there's no volume of energy that directs the person one way or the other. It's just natural and it flows. Everyone who's listening to this right now knows what I'm talking about. It's those moments when you're first in love and there's nothing but excitement and passion and your whole body is filled with this vibration. That is a vibration in the body. That's the orbiting that Bucky talked about. And know this though, what's key, and Bucky said the next part, the individual bodies must maintain their sovereignty. They must maintain their individuality. They must be supported, and one balances the other. Without the other planet goes off into the cosmos. So there's this dance, and the dance only comes because there's equal energies, equal exchange between both independent bodies. What I have found in the relationships that have difficulty, that sometimes often go off into different directions after they either clash or they go off, is the ones that basically start to forget about the orbit. A relationship is a spiritual muscle. It must be exercised. You know that any muscle that is not exercised, not utilized, it will atrophy. It dies because of misuse. So that fire one feels in the very beginning when they have the others looking at them in front of them, literally is that initial recognition. It's the beginning of that orbit. But one must exercise that muscle. One must exercise that spiritual muscle by getting back into what I call the present moment. Most of us live in our minds and attach our identity to the mind, which lives in the future or the past, constantly scanning the horizon for the next threat. When you put your relationship into that framework, it's doomed. What do? You go back, take a moment. You have to go to the gym to exercise that muscle. Why? You've taken action. You're saying that this body is important enough to make a priority and exercise, and then in the real world of physicality, you see the results. It's the same way. The way to have a spiritual relationship is to stop, look at each other, not go backwards. You don't have to go backwards to remember how it used to be. It's right there right now. Man, it's right there. But when you look through the eyes of an identity ego, you won't see it. Look right there, right now, what's in front of you. And the great way that I get there is through gratitude. Find something to be grateful for with the person in front of you. I've often gone forward to that last moment in my life when I'm on my deathbed. And I ask myself, do I have regret for this, or am I glad that I did this thing? When it comes to relationship, be glad that you stayed the course and stayed solid and went into that spiritual muscle to take the moment to look at another human being and not remember what was there, because it is, but recognize what is already present. And how do you do that? Setting an intention, making it a priority, going to the gym of your relationship and exercising that spiritual muscle that lives right here called the human heart. If you're in a relationship, if you are a parent, if you're ever going to buy a car or a house or sell something, you negotiate. And I have a gift. Now this part, put your seatbelt on. I'm going to give away my next course of Negotiating with Integrity, which is 2 long days, full of information, full of content, and it will shift everything for you. I'm going to do that for free. That's right, for free. What does that mean? It means that if you click on the link below, go ahead, go to the site, you can look at the class, look at what you're going to learn, but don't wait, register today. And when the class is closed, it will be closed. I have a limited number of seats. We're going to be videoing this event, and we're going to be transferring it into an online program that you and anywhere in the world can get mutual satisfaction and benefit by looking at the program. So, click on the link below, and hopefully I'll see you in the class coming up. Thank you. Hi, if you like the information I just shared with you, please like it below. If there's anybody in your life that you feel can benefit from this, share it. If you are on Facebook, I'd appreciate if you follow me. On YouTube, subscribe, and maybe I'll see you in the future. Thank you. Hi, if you like the information I just shared with you, please like it below. If there's anybody in your life that you feel can benefit from this, share it. If you are on Facebook, I'd appreciate if you follow me. On YouTube, subscribe, and maybe I'll see you in the future. Thank you.